Hello everyone, welcome to this week's State of the Market update. So the freight markets have slowly started to deteriorate, actually not slowly, but very rapidly started to deteriorate over the last couple of weeks. Thought they might be starting to recover, and yet here we are sitting at week 3 in October, and they're still pretty flat, 3%, just under 3% down from March volumes of this year. This OTVI index for the United States of America that I have pulled up here is telling us that volumes continue to be depressed over the last 7 days. Again, the September levels were way up here, operating at a little bit higher level than the March levels, but tender rejections kind of stayed flat throughout the month. And then here recently in the last 2 weeks, they have really started to deteriorate and decline. Pulling up the Outbound tender rejection index for the United States, you can see that clearly illustrated right here. These are the lowest levels ever on the tender rejection index. So what that's telling you is that the market itself is really stable at this point. So the shippers out there can actually have a pick of their capacity in general. There's also markets out there sitting out there that we're going to go through here in a bit that are not quite as stable. They still have some capacity issues, but overall, the market itself is stabilizing. When tender rejections go down, that means that you should be able to find capacity. When tender rejections go up, capacity is less available. So right now, we're at the lowest levels. You see October last year, right after the hurricanes, and we were about to hit some peak peak holiday season here in November. It looks like about the middle part of November, things really started to turn up for the Thanksgiving holiday, but you also had things like Christmas trees and other holiday shipping volumes. And I don't know if many people know this, but the containers came in on the ports. It was a record month out west, the amount of container volume hitting the ports. Don't know what that means just yet for this holiday season, but a lot of people are talking about a pretty good size holiday season, which could pull the freight market out of its slump. We'll have to wait and see here in the next few weeks. October, November tend to be kind of swing months. We never really know when the shippers are going to start pushing their inventory for the Christmas pushes. So again, we need to wait and see over the next few weeks, if this big jump that we saw last year happens this year. That being said, we are seeing a little bit of liveliness out there in the country in general. So I'm going to pull up the Outbound Tender Rejection Index here, a few Outbound Tender Rejection indices in the Northwest. This is the Twin Falls, Idaho market. You can see here that they've got a pretty regular pattern of, increasing over the last little bit. They have found a little bit new bottom, but the Pacific Northwest has shown quite the propensity for having these spikes over the last couple of weeks. It's one of the only areas in the country. Twin Falls, obviously, not a huge market. So one that's a little bit bigger, but right next to it, the Spokane Market has stayed elevated here, and you can tell it is quite a jump from its regular state of being. Tender rejections throughout the last week in October that we've seen have really increased, higher than they've been all year. Some of that has to do with the agricultural shipments. We've seen the reefer tender rejection index up there go up. As this is starting to be the apple harvest, we're right in the middle of it. It happens from September through November, and then we will see the Christmas trees come through here in the next few weeks. So anybody heading into the Pacific Northwest should be wary of this. Another market that has shown up here in the last few days, Salt Lake City, although it's recovered a little bit, but my point being here is that the Mountain West area has shown a lot more volatility than the rest of the country. Big markets like Atlanta, Chicago, Los Angeles have all been kind of slowly coming back down to earth, whereas the Mountain West has really started to come up a little bit. It's showing signs of life in a market that is actually kind of falling apart. For those carriers that are out there and they're rejecting loads going into the Northwest or the Pacific Northwest or the Mountain West, which is a typical kind of head haul or backhaul market area where you cannot get a truck out of, you can actually probably find some loads coming out of those areas here in the near term. So, you know, you're kind of going the counterintuitive route here, going to an area that you normally would say, heck no, the market's deteriorating. For sure, I'm not going to the Pacific Northwest or the mountains because I'll never be able to get a load out. Actually, that is quite the opposite this week. So that is the tidbit for the week. The market does appear to be getting a little softer as we near the end of October. It hasn't shown, the hurricanes did not do anything to kind of spark any signs of life in the southeast. We had a few little near-term disturbances, but right now things have kind of fallen off significantly. Time will tell if that continues. Stay tuned to FreightWaves for more market insights. Have a great week.